Welcome. On behalf of Fully Involved, we'll be doing a training series on DataTrac version 13. This one is going to contain how to create a simple custom spreadsheet. The simple custom spreadsheet we're going to use for an example is, just to give you the history, what we'll do is we'll just pick a staff spreadsheet that we want to build, and what we'll do is, just for simplicity, we're going to demonstrate building a spreadsheet. We'll say we want to put the employee number, the last name, the first name, and just for simplicity we'll say we're going to put the rank. So we want 4 fields on our report. To do that, the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to go to our preferences, and we're going to look for the tab under the general tab that says spreadsheets. This is where all of your custom spreadsheets reside. You can see this department has quite a few already in place. So if we want to build one, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit Manage Custom Spreadsheets. That brings us up to another dialog, which I'll try and get on the screen so everybody can see the whole thing. So what I'll do is we're going to decide what folder do we want this in. It really doesn't matter. You could place them any way you want, but for the sake of organization, I would endorse putting them in what you consider to be the right spots. I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to click on the staff, and I'm going to hit down the bottom. I'm going to say I want a new layout or report. This should start to walk me through a dialogue of series of questions that I need to answer for how we're going to get a report with those 4 fields on it. So the first thing that comes up is it says show records from what table. I know I can look down 3 and I can see there's 20 or 30 tables of data. We know that the one we want is from the staff. So we're going to choose that, and what are we going to call it? For tonight I'm going to call it test staff, and we want it to show on the screen, and then we have a choice of what type of report, or for this sake we're going to use a table form, which is very much like using Excel, and it's the simplest of the ones. If you're trying to get started on how to build them, the tables are the simpler of the ones to build. These reports and forms are a little more complex, but can absolutely be done. I'm going to hit finish, and now you'll see my test staff is showing up there after I hop through these screens. This isn't something you would typically have to do. So now it's asking me what fields do I want on there. So I know that there are several fields in there's 400, just in the staff table there's 400 or 500 fields, but I'm going to assume and I'm going to hope that there's a staff called something around name, and I'm going to look here and I see, yep, there's my first name. I'm going to hold the control key so I can get my last name, and I said I wanted rank. So if I look down through here, hopefully, yep, there's a rank, and my other one was employee number. So I'll look for employee number. And there is my employee number. So I'm going to hit OK, and now you're going to see that there's my 4 fields that are on there. Now I could at any point I'm going to be able to add or take fields away as we go, but for the moment we're going to leave those 4 on there, and I'm going to close. Now I have, here is my employee number, first name, last name, and rank. I can decide that I want to, just like Excel, I can drag the field over. I can lengthen fields if I want, or I can go back in and say, go to modify it, and I can say, you know what, I really didn't want the employee number on there, and as you can see, that employee number immediately disappears. But I'll leave it up there for the moment. So to get out of here, I'm going to go back to main menu, and now that customized spreadsheet's available, but yet it's not on my docket yet. It is available. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit this blue refresh button, and that's going to make it available to me. And if I look down through here, if we remember, I call it test staff, and there's my test staff. So if I pull it up, now I can decide where do I want this to show throughout the program. I'm going to put it into my staff table, and I'm also going to put it on the bottom one here, which is main menu. and that's the only place I'm going to put it for now. So now, when we go back out to our main menu, we notice that when I pull this down, I see there's my test staff that I put up there. And I shouldn't have hit the other one. If I go to incident reporting, you'll notice that when I hit Spreadsheet, I don't see it because I didn't activate it in that module. Okay, so the only place you're going to see it is where we've told it to, which we've told it to go into staff, and there it is right there. So once I click on that test staff, now I should see there's the report that I created. I can sort by first name, last name. I can tell it to sort descending. You know, you can create this thing any way you want. Once it's in here, I can go in and I can start to manipulate it and say, you know, what records do I want to show? Like for instance, I could tell it that I only want to find anybody that has a rank of engineer, let's say. So the way that I would do that is I'm going to go back into my preferences, and now I've created this spreadsheet. It works for me, but now I want to get a little more complex about it and start doing some other things with it. So I'm going to go back into the spreadsheet. I'm going to say I want to manage it again, and I'm going to go into my test staff, and I'm going to go into the edit button, and in here I can decide different things about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide that I only want to see anyone with the rank of engineer. So I'm going to go to my script trigger, and I'm going to say on layout enter, and now it's going to ask me what is it you want to do. So I'm going to highlight staff, push the plus sign, and it's going to give me a new script, and I'm going to call it test staff. I try and keep this stuff consistent on the way you label it so that you can understand it throughout, but it doesn't mean you have to do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to, one of the steps you can do in here is called perform find, and I'm going to specify that what I want to perform the find of is, if you notice, I'm going to see my staff, and I'm going to go to the rank, and I'm going to say I only want to see the rank if it's engineer. So now that's what I've done. I've told it to only find those records, and I've told it to anytime we enter that layout to run that test staff. So now we'll try this again. So this time I'll go right from the main menu. I'll see test staff. When I click on it, bam, it pulls back just what I told it to, only people that had the rank of engineer. So depending upon the complexity, this is fairly simple. You could tell it to pull back whatever it is you want to query back and filter back about your records, so that you're not just getting overloads of data. Hope that was helpful, and thank you.